The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets overhead, casting harsh shadows on the tiled floor slick with sweat and chlorine. I froze in the doorway of the high school locker room, my gym bag slipping from my shoulder, because there he was, my stepbrother Austin, half naked under the sputtering shower, steam curling around his broad shoulders like a confession he couldn't voice. "Dylan," he rasped, eyes wild and unguarded for the first time in years. "I think I'm in love with you, and it terrifies me." That moment hit me like a freight train barreling through the quiet suburbs of Elmwood, Ohio, where picket fences hid more secrets than they guarded. I'd spent the last 3 years since our parents' shotgun wedding pretending Austin was just the golden boy next door, the straight-A quarterback with the easy grin and the parade of cheerleader girlfriends who made my stomach twist into jealous knots. At 17, I was the quiet one, the kid with the sketchbook full of half-drawn faces and a backpack stuffed with dog-eared copies of Walt Whitman's Leaves, whispering to myself that my feelings for him were just a phase, a glitch in the family software. But now, with the echo of the final whistle from Friday's game still ringing in my ears, the air thick with the scent of damp towels and unspoken truths, everything I'd buried clawed its way to the surface. Austin didn't move, water streaming down his chest, tracing paths over the bruises from the game like war paint on a fallen soldier. He was built like the all-American dream. 6'2", shoulders that strained against his Letterman jacket, and hazel eyes that could charm a room full of boosters at the diner on Main Street. Our folks, my mom, Karen, the no-nonsense nurse who'd raised me alone after Dad bailed when I was 8, and his dad, Mike, the burly auto mechanic with a Bible on the nightstand, had met at a church potluck, bonded over meatloaf and mutual loneliness, and decided blending families was the next logical step. "It's a fresh start," Mom had said, hugging me too tight that first night in the cramped split level on Oak Ridge Lane. Fresh start. Right. For her, maybe. For me, it was like being handed a live grenade labeled forbidden fruit. I'd known I was gay since I was 12, back when the other boys at Elmwood Middle were trading baseball cards, and I was stealing glances at the lifeguard at the community pool. Coming out to Mom had been a tear-soaked kitchen table confessional at 15. She'd held me, promised she loved me no matter what, but warned me about the world outside our door, the judgmental stares at the grocery store, the whispers in the pews at First Baptist. "Keep it close to your chest, baby," she'd said. "Not everyone's ready." Austin, he was the poster child for ready. Homecoming king, captain of the team, the guy who high-fived Pastor Reynolds after every youth group barbecue. Straight as the Ohio River on a map. Or so I thought. The locker room confrontation wasn't some rom-com meet-cute. It was raw, jagged, born from months of tension that had been building like storm clouds over Lake Erie. It started small, brushing past each other in the hallway upstairs, his hand lingering a second too long on my shoulder when he laughed at one of my dumb jokes during family dinners. I'd catch him watching me from across the dinner table, fork paused mid-air, that easy smile faltering into something deeper, more searching. Once, during a late-night thunderstorm when the power flickered out, we'd ended up shoulder to shoulder on the couch under a shared blanket, the glow of my phone screen illuminating his face as we scrolled through memes to drown out the thunder. His knee pressed against mine, warm and unyielding, and when lightning cracked, he didn't pull away. "You're solid, Dylan," he'd murmured, voice low like he was afraid the walls had ears. Solid. The word stuck with me, a splinter under my skin. But Austin had his armor. Girlfriends cycled through like seasons. First Sarah from the debate team, all sharp wit and vintage dresses. Then Brittany, the cheer captain with the laugh like wind chimes, and a daddy who owned half the car dealerships in town. I'd watch them at parties in basements on the edge of the woods, red Solo cups in hand, the bass from some kid's Bluetooth speaker thumping through the floorboards. Austin would pull them close, lips brushing necks, and I'd turn away, nursing a warm beer in the corner, sketching the grain of the wood paneling to keep from shattering. Jealousy wasn't just an emotion. It was a beast gnawing at my ribs, making every family car ride to the mall a minefield of small talk and stolen glances in the rearview. School was no escape. Elmwood High was a pressure cooker of Friday night lights and college scouts circling like vultures. I was the artsy outlier, vice president of the GSA club we kept under the radar, the one who painted murals for the spring fair that no one noticed. Austin ruled the halls, but lately, I'd seen cracks. The way he'd skip practice to sit alone in the bleachers, staring at the field like it held answers he couldn't tackle. Rumors swirled too. Whispers in the cafeteria about how he'd turned down a sure thing with a new girl from Cleveland, mumbling something about not feeling it. I dismissed them as small-town gossip, the kind that painted everyone in broad strokes of scandal. That Friday, the game against Riverton had been brutal. Rain-slicked turf, mud caking cleats, the crowd a sea of blue and gold pom-poms under portable lights that turned the field into a stage. Austin had thrown the winning pass in overtime, the stands erupting as he was buried under a dogpile of teammates. I was there, not for the sport but for him, huddled under Mom's old stadium blanket in the nosebleeds, heart pounding with every snap. After, as the team filed into the locker room, I lingered by the chain-link fence, pretending to tie my shoe. "Hey, Dill," he'd called over his shoulder, jersey slung over one arm, sweat gleaming on his skin. "Walk home together?" It was innocent enough. Our house was only a mile from the field, but the way he said it, like an invitation to something more, made my pulse stutter. The walk was silent at first, streetlights pooling gold on the cracked sidewalks, the distant hum of semis on I-90 the only soundtrack. We cut through the park, leaves crunching underfoot, the air crisp with the promise of fall turning to winter. "You were amazing out there," I said finally, shoving my hands in my pockets to keep from reaching for his. He shrugged, but there was no cocky grin, just a shadow crossing his face. "Doesn't feel like it. Feels like, I don't know, like I'm playing someone else's game." We stopped by the old gazebo, graffiti-scarred with creaking in the breeze. He leaned against the railing, head tipped back to the stars. "You ever feel like that? Like you're wearing a mask and it's suffocating?" I swallowed hard, the truth bubbling up like acid. Every damn day. Our eyes met, and in that suspended breath, the world narrowed to the space between us, 2 inches, maybe 3, thick with what-ifs. Then he straightened, clapped my shoulder like it was nothing. "Race you home, loser buys ice cream." And we ran, laughing into the night, the moment slipping away like smoke. But it caught up in the locker room. I'd forgotten my phone in my locker after art club. Ironic, since I'd been sketching him again, his profile sharp against the window, and doubled back while the team was still celebrating at Shakey's Pizza. The door creaked open to emptiness, save for the hiss of the showers. And Austin, alone, head bowed under the spray. He turned when he heard me, water beading on his lashes, and that's when he said it. "Dylan, I can't pretend anymore." His voice broke on the last word, hands clenching at his sides as if fighting the urge to reach out. I stood there, rooted, the bag at my feet a forgotten anchor. Pretend what? My own words came out hoarse, a plea wrapped in fear. "That you're just my stepbrother. That the way I feel when you're around. It's nothing. It's everything, Dill. It's why I can't sleep, why I push you away with those stupid girls. Because if I let myself." He trailed off, stepping closer, the steam parting like a veil. His hand lifted, hovered near my cheek, then dropped. "I'm straight, right? That's what everyone says. But you, God, you make me question it all." The world tilted. This was Austin, my Austin, the one who'd taught me to throw a spiral in the backyard, who'd covered for me when I snuck out to that underground poetry slam in Toledo. The boy who'd become my anchor in this blended mess of a family, even as he unknowingly tore me apart. I wanted to bolt, to laugh it off as post-game adrenaline, but my feet wouldn't move. "Austin, we can't. Mom, Mike, they'd." The words died as he closed the gap, his forehead pressing to mine, breath mingling hot and ragged. "I know," he whispered, a tremor in his voice that mirrored the quake in my chest. "But I had to say it, before it eats me alive." His lips brushed my temple, not a kiss, but close enough to brand me. Then he pulled back, eyes glistening, and grabbed his towel like a shield. "Forget I said anything. Please." He dressed in a blur, fleeing into the night, leaving me shattered in the echo of dripping water. I didn't sleep that night. Curled in my twin bed, posters of Basquiat, and The Cure peeling from the walls, I replayed it on loop. The vulnerability in his eyes, the confession hanging heavy as humidity. Was it real? Or just a cruel joke, the straight jock toying with the gay kid for kicks? By dawn, resolve hardened in my gut, I'd confront him. But family breakfast brought only forced smiles and Mom's pancakes drowning in syrup, Austin's knee bumping mine under the table. A secret Morse code I couldn't decode. Days blurred into a tense standoff. He'd avoid my eyes in the kitchen, bury himself in highlight reels on his laptop, while I sketched furiously, charcoal smudging his imagined face into oblivion. School was worse. Seeing him with Brittany again, her arm looped through his at lunch, laughing at nothing. Each giggle was a knife twist, fueling a rage I didn't know I had. Was this betrayal? Him, spilling his soul one night, then parading normalcy the next? I cornered him after practice one evening, the field lamps buzzing like cicadas. "What the hell was that, Austin?" I hissed, grabbing his wrist as he slung his bag over his shoulder. The parking lot was emptying, taillights winking red into the dusk. He yanked free, face paling. "Dylan, not here. Please." But his eyes, those damn eyes, betrayed him, flickering with the same storm. "You drop that bomb and then ghost me? Pretend it's fine while you play house with her? If you're messing with me." My voice cracked, fists balling at my sides. "I'm not." He glanced around, voice dropping to a urgent whisper. "It's complicated, okay? Dad's already on me about scouts, about being the man of the house. If he knew, if anyone knew." He raked a hand through his damp hair, defeated. I panicked. "But it's real, Dill. Terrifyingly real." We stood there, inches apart amid the gravel crunch of leaving cars, the weight of his words a bridge or a chasm. I couldn't tell which. "Then what now?" I asked, softer, the anger ebbing into ache. He swallowed, stepping closer, his hand finding mine in the shadows. "I don't know, but I can't lose you." His fingers intertwined with mine, calluses rough from the pigskin, and for a heartbeat, the world was just us, two boys stealing oxygen from the American dream. But secrets like ours don't stay buried in Elmwood. Not when the town's as small as a confession booth, and the walls have ears sharper than judgment. The first fracture came at Thanksgiving, 2 weeks after the locker room, when the air in our house thickened with turkey and tension you could cut with a carving knife. Mom had outdone herself, golden bird on the good china, cranberry relish from Grandma's recipe, the dining room table groaning undersides that screamed Midwestern comfort. Mike cracked dad jokes over the mashed potatoes, his laugh booming like a V8 engine, while Austin sat across from me, foot nudging mine under the damask cloth in a rhythm that said more than words ever could. We'd stolen moments since that night. A brush of knuckles in the laundry room, a late-night text, "Can't stop thinking about your laugh," that lit up my phone like contraband. It was fragile, this thing between us, built on whispers and what-ifs. But God, it felt like flying. Until Brittany showed up uninvited, all glossy ponytail and pie in a Tupperware, her dad dropping her off with a honk that rattled the windows. "Thought y'all could use an extra hand," she chirped, hugging Austin like he was her personal teddy bear. His face went rigid, eyes darting to me in apology, but the damage was done. I excused myself to the kitchen, gripping the sink edge until my knuckles whitened, while rising at the sight of her hand on his thigh during grace. Betrayal? No, worse, humiliation. He was playing both sides, the devoted boyfriend for the world, the secret something for me. By dessert, I was done, shoving back from the table with a mumbled headache that fooled no one. Outside on the porch, the November chill bit through my hoodie, stars pricking the black sky like accusations. Footsteps creaked behind me. Austin, of course, closing the screen door soft as a sigh. "Dill, wait." His voice was wrecked, breath fogging in the cold. I whirled, fury uncoiling. "Wait? For what, Austin? For you to decide if I'm worth the risk? She was all over you in there, and you just let her." The words lashed out, sharper than I intended, born from a wound festering since the locker room. He winced, stepping close enough that I could smell his cologne, cedar and citrus, the kind that lingered on couch cushions after he'd crashed during movie nights. "It's cover, okay? Dad's been on me about settling down, talking marriage like I'm already hitched. If I push back too hard." He trailed off, rubbing his neck, the gesture so boyish it cracked my anger a fraction. "Cover for what? Us. We're not even. God, Austin, what are we?" I demanded, voice rising on the wind that rustled the oaks lining our street. Neighbors' lights twinkled like spies, the distant bark of a labradoodle the only witness. His eyes searched mine, raw and pleading. I want us to be everything. But it's not that simple. You know Elmwood. Folks here still clutch pearls over the pride float at the fair. And Dad, he's old school. If he found out his star son was, he choked on the word, gay, like it was poison. He'd disown me faster than you can say prodigal son. The confession hung there, heavy as the fog rolling in from the lake. Gay. He'd said it. About himself, about the shadow we'd both been dancing in. My throat tightened, a mix of triumph and terror. Then fight for it, I whispered, grabbing his jacket lapels, pulling him into the scant shelter of the porch swing. Or let me go before this destroys us both. He kissed me then, not the tentative brush from the showers, but fierce, desperate, lips crashing like waves on the shore. His hands framed my face, thumbs tracing my jaw, and for those stolen seconds, the world dissolved. No judgmental town, no fractured family, just the heat of him against me, tasting of pumpkin pie and promise. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, his whisper a vow. I choose you. Every time. But choices have consequences, and ours ricocheted like buckshot. The next week, Brittany cornered me in the school library, her books clutched like a shield, eyes narrowed in that way that said she'd pieced together more than puzzles. What's your deal with Austin? She hissed, voice low amid the stacks of dog-eared classics. The air smelled of musty pages and desperation. I froze, heart hammering. No deal. He's your boyfriend, remember? Lie tasted bitter, but survival demanded it. She leaned in, perfume cloying. Don't play dumb, Dylan. I saw you two at Thanksgiving. The looks, the disappearing act. If you're, whatever, with him, just say it. I deserve that much. Her voice cracked, not with anger, but hurt, a mirror to my own hidden fractures. Guilt twisted like a knife. Brittany wasn't the villain. She was collateral, a casualty of Austin's facade. It's not like that. I lied again, softer. He's straight. We're just brothers. The word burned, a betrayal of its own. She searched my face, then nodded, deflating. Fine. But if you're lying. She walked away, shoulders slumped, leaving me adrift in the dewy decimals, wondering how many lies it took to bury a truth. Austin ended it with her that weekend, over shakes at the frosty mug, the neon sign buzzing like a guilty conscience. It's not you, he told her, voice steady as he could manage. She slapped him, hard, the crack echoing across the vinyl booths, called him every name in the small-town playbook, from coward to freak. Word spread like flu season. By Monday, the halls buzzed with whispers, cheer squads shooting daggers, jocks clapping Austin's back with pitying smirks. Broke up with the hottest girl in school? Ballsy man. He laughed it off, but I saw the toll, the shadows under his eyes, the way he'd flinch at raised voices. For us, it was a stolen summer in winter's grip. We'd sneak out to the old quarry on the edge of town, tires crunching gravel under my beat-up Civic, the radio crooning Springsteen as we parked under the pines. There, away from prying eyes, we'd talk, really talk, about his fears of losing the scholarship that could catapult him to Ohio State, about the pressure of being Mike's legacy, the son who'd make up for his own wild youth. I'd spill my dreams of art school in New York, far from Elmwood's chokehold, sketching him by flashlight as he traced constellations on my palm. You're my North Star, Dill, he'd say, voice thick, and I'd believe him, even as doubt gnawed. But doubt has teeth. Mike noticed the shift first. Dinners where Austin barely touched his meatloaf, excuses piling up like snowdrifts. You okay, son? He'd grunt over the sports page, beer in hand. Austin would nod too quickly, mumble about senior stress, but Mike's eyes lingered, sharpening like he sensed a loose thread. The real storm hit in December, with Christmas lights twinkling like false halos on every lawn. Mom pulled me aside after church, her nurse's scrubs still crisp, face lined with worry. Dylan's been distant. And Austin, something's off. You two fighting. Her hand on my arm was warm, maternal, but laced with that unspoken plea. Keep the family whole. I forced a smile, the lie automatic. Just guy stuff, Mom. We'll figure it. But inside, panic clawed. If she knew, would her love hold? The hypocrisy of it all. The church choirs singing Silent Night, while we hid in plain sight. fueled a reckless fire. That night, Austin climbed through my window, a habit from sleepovers turned illicit, his breath minty from stolen gum. We tangled on the quilt, kisses soft and searching, hands mapping familiar terrain under flannel. "I love you," he murmured against my neck, the words a balm and a brand. No more hiding. Famous last words. Dawn brought Mike's bellow from downstairs. "Austin, get your ass down here." And the crash of something breaking. We scrambled, him yanking on jeans, me smoothing sheets, hard in my throat. By the time he descended, the air reeked of burnt toast and rage. Brittany had told her dad. Who told the coach? Who told Mike over coffee at the garage? "My boy's queer." Mike roared when Austin faced him in the kitchen, face purple as the bruise on his ego. Mom hovered in the doorway, tears streaking her mascara, while I eavesdropped from the stairs, invisible anchor sinking. "It's not. Dad, listen," Austin stammered, but Mike cut him off, voice a thunderclap. "You think you can throw away everything I've built for you? The team, the future, for what? Some phase. Some." He spat the word fairy, ugly and American as apple pie gone sour. Austin recoiled like he'd been struck, and something in me snapped. I burst in, chest heaving. "Stop it. He's your son, not a project." The room froze, Mom gasping, Mike turning slow, eyes bulging in disbelief. "Dylan," Mom whispered, piecing it together in the wreckage. "You too." The silence was deafening, a vacuum sucking the air from our lungs. Austin's gaze met mine, gratitude, terror, love, and in that instant, I knew we'd crossed the Rubicon. No going back. Mike stormed out, keys jangling, tires screeching into the slushy street. Mom sank to a chair, head in hands, sobbing quietly. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked, voice small. "Because we were scared," Austin said, kneeling beside her, his hand on her knee. "Of this." She looked up, eyes red-rimmed but fierce. "You think I don't know fear? I raised Dylan alone, buried secrets deeper than yours. But family, we face it together." She pulled us both into a hug, awkward and tear-soaked, the first crack of light in the storm. But Mike didn't come home that night, or the next. He holed up at the shop, answering Mom's calls and grunts, the absence a gaping wound. Austin withdrew, skipping practice, staring at the ceiling in our shared room like it held indictments. "I ruined everything," he muttered one night, back to me in the dark. "No," I whispered, curling against him. "We did. Together." But the guilt festered, a secret poison. I started pulling away, sketching alone in the attic, convincing myself distance would heal the rift. Misunderstanding bloomed. He thought I regretted us. I thought he was ashamed. Texts went unanswered, glances averted, the love that had sparked in steam now smoldering in silence. New Year's Eve sealed the fracture. The town square glittered with fireworks prep, families stringing garlands. But our house was a tomb. Austin's phone buzzed, a scout from OSU, offering a visit. "This could be it," he said, voice hollow, showing me the email. But his eyes pleaded for more. "Stay. Fight." I nodded, but inside, resentment boiled. "Go. Be the straight dream they want." The words slipped, barbed and unintended. His face crumpled. "You think that's what I want? Without you?" He grabbed my shoulders, shaking gently. "Dylan, you're my everything. Don't do this." But I did, storming out into the snow, boots crunching toward the square where revelers laughed oblivious. Fireworks bloomed overhead, reds and golds exploding like hearts, but I felt only the cold seep of isolation. Behind me, Austin's shout cut through, "I love you, damn it." Heads turned, whispers rippling, but he didn't care, running to me, pulling me into the light show, kissing me fierce under the bursts. The town saw. Phones flashed. By morning, it was viral. Elmwood's golden boy, out and unashamed. Mike returned that day, face haggard, a six-pack as peace offering. I was wrong. He grunted, not meeting eyes. But this, it's hard. Progress, jagged but real. Spring thawed the ice, but not without cost. Austin's scholarship wavered, scouts whispering distraction, and I faced slurs scrawled on my locker, Mom fielding calls from pearl clutchers. Yet we endured, hands clasped under tables, love a quiet rebellion. Summer crashed in like a betrayal you didn't see coming. Humid, unrelenting, turning Elmwood streets into pressure cookers where old grudges simmered to a boil. By June, Austin and I were a fragile truce in motion. Stolen kisses in the bed of his truck parked at the quarry, fingers laced during drives to the lake, where we'd skip stones and dream aloud about escaping to Chicago or Seattle, cities big enough to swallow our story whole. "We'll get an apartment with a view," he'd say, arm around my shoulders as the sun dipped low, painting the water in strokes I'd later capture in watercolor. You painting, me coaching, us finally free. I'd lean into him, inhaling the mix of sunscreen and sweat, believing it like gospel. But freedom's a lie when roots run deep and toxic. Mike was trying, halting apologies over backyard barbecues, a grudging proud of you after Austin's Summer League MVP, but the strain showed in his white-knuckled beers, the way he'd changed the channel from any gay agenda news. Mom mediated with weary grace, her shifts at the hospital longer, excuses thinner. "Give him time," she'd urge, but time felt like quicksand, pulling us under. The real gut punch landed mid-July, at the annual Elmwood Fair, carnival lights strung like nooses over the midway, air thick with funnel cake grease and diesel from the rides. Austin had dragged me there, determined to own it, his hand in mine as we wove through the crowd. Whispers followed like smoke. "That's them, the Stepbrothers." Stares lingered, some curious, others venomous. But with him, it felt conquerable, his thumb stroking my knuckles a talisman. Until we ran into Coach Harlan, red-faced under his ball cap, clipboard eternal. "Austin, son," he boomed, clapping his shoulder too hard, eyes sliding to our joined hands with a grimace. "Heard about your situation. OSU's still interested, but they want stable. No drama. You get me?" The implication hung, oily as the corn dogs frying nearby. Austin stiffened, grip tightening on mine. "I get you, coach. But this is me, all of me." His voice was steady, but I felt the tremor, the fear of doors slamming on his dreams. Harlan chuckled, paternal poison. "Think on it, kid. Wouldn't want one mistake tanking your future." He walked off, leaving us adrift amid laughter and calliope music, the joy leached out. That night, in the sweltering attic we'd claimed as sanctuary, fans whirring lazy against the heat, Austin paced, jersey discarded, muscles taut as bowstrings. "He's right, isn't he? One wrong move, and poof, scholarship gone. Dad's right to worry." Self-doubt laced his words, a toxin I'd thought we'd purged. I sat on the sleeping bag, sketchpad abandoned, frustration bubbling. "So what? You're gonna let them bully you back into the closet? After everything?" The accusation flew, sharper than intended, born from my own terror of losing him to their expectations. He stopped, eyes flashing. "Easy for you to say. You're not the one they built statues for. You're the artist. Run off to your lofts and rainbows. Me? This is my shot, Dill. Our shot." The hour twisted like a knife, implying I was the anchor, not the wind in his sails. Hurt flared hot. "Your shot? What about us? You think I want to be the secret that costs you everything?" I stood, closing the distance, but he backed away, hands raking his hair. "Maybe you are," he muttered, the words a grenade pin pulled. Silence exploded, shards embedding deep. His face crumpled instantly, regret, horror, but damage done. "Dill, I didn't mean." "Save it." I grabbed my shoes, storming down the pull-down stairs, the slam of the back door echoing my fracturing heart. Outside, fireflies blinked like false hopes in the yard, crickets mocking with their endless song. I drove aimlessly, ending up at the lake, tires spinning gravel, waves lapping indifferent. Hours later, my phone lit with texts, pleas, apologies, voicemails thick with tears. "Come home. Please. I love you." But pride, or fear, kept me at the quarry, curled in the truck cab, replaying the fight like a bad reel. Misunderstanding metastasized. He thought I was bailing. I thought he was choosing safety over soul. By dawn, resolve hardened. I'd give him space, prove I wasn't the mistake. The fallout was biblical. Austin threw himself into drills, bruises blooming like accusations, ignoring my calls. Mike noticed, cornering me in the garage amid oil stains and tool racks. "What's eating him?" he demanded, Wrench paused mid-turn. I met his gaze, chin up. You. The town. Fear. Bluntness shocked us both. His jaw worked, but he nodded slow. He's strong, like his old man. But this. It's uncharted. Vulnerability cracked his gruff shell. A map to reconciliation, if we dared. Mom tried bridging, inviting us to a family reset picnic at the park, but Austin begged off with a migraine, and I let silence stretch. Distance bred deeper rifts. Rumors swirled anew, Brittany's crowd spinning tales of seduction and betrayal, painting me the villain who turned the town's prince. Lockers vandalized again, fag enabler, and anonymous notes in my backpack, threats veiled as jokes. I internalized it, withdrawing into art, canvases bleeding reds and blacks of unspoken rage. August brought the OSU visit, a suit from Columbus descending on our suburb like a hawk, itinerary packed with tours and talks. Austin aced the interview, charm dialed to 11, but afterward, in the empty high school gym where it started, he found me shooting hoops alone, ball thumping hollow. They're offering it, he said, voice flat, leaning against the bleachers. Sweat gleamed on his skin, tank top clinging. Congratulations. I passed the ball hard. He caught it one-handed, expression stormy. Don't. I know I screwed up. That night. I was scared, lashing out. But you're not a mistake, Dill. You're the only thing that makes sense. He stepped closer, ball forgotten, hand cupping my neck. Forgive me. The plea hung, raw as an open wound. I wanted to, God, I did, but trust was frayed threadbare. Words are cheap, Austin. Show me. Challenge issued. We kissed there, amid echoes of sneakers and ghosts of games, slow and searching, a mending stitch. But mending's fragile, and fate's a cruel editor. 2 days later, the scout called back, not with confirmation, but concern. We heard rumblings. The voice on speakerphone crackled, Mike's face ashen beside Austin's. Distractions, personal matters, might affect team fit. Code for us, clear as day. Austin's scholarship dangled by a homophobic thread. He didn't blame me, not outright, but the shift was seismic. Practices intensified, nights studying tape till dawn, our quarry dates canceled for focus. It's temporary, he'd promise, pecking my cheek before crashing early. But touches grew perfunctory, eyes distant, the love we'd kindled flickering low. Desperation bred stupidity. I confronted him after a scrimmage, storming the field as players dispersed, floodlights harsh as interrogations. You're ghosting me again. For them. He yanked off his helmet, grass stains streaking his pads. I'm fighting for us, Dill. If I blow this, what then? Wait tables while you jet to art school. Accusation laced with truth, ugly and American, class whispers under the dream. I recoiled, venom rising. So I'm the burden now? The gay weight dragging you down. Shouts drew stares, a teammate whistled low. Austin's face twisted, pain, fury. You don't get it. This is survival. He turned, stalking to the lot, leaving me amid the turf, tears hot on my cheeks. That misunderstanding festered into war. I packed a bag that weekend, crashing at my old friend Jax's, a fellow GSA outcast with a basement full of comics and acceptance. Stay as long as you need, he said. No questions, just a blanket and bad pizza. Mom called. Frantic. Austin texted once. Where are you? Then radio silence. Days blurred. Shifts at the bookstore to fund my escape fund. Sketches of fractured hearts. Nights scrolling Austin's public Insta. Smiles forced. Captions about grinding. The climax brewed at Labor Day, the fair's farewell bash. A bonfire on the beach. Bonfire of vanities. I went alone, needing closure, the sand cool underfoot, waves a dirge. There he was, by the flames, Brittany on his arm. Not dating, he later swore, just optics for the scouts. But seeing it? Salt in the wound, rage igniting. I marched up, firelit shadows dancing on his guilty face. Optics, that's your play now? Voice carried, heads turned. Dill, wait, he disentangled, but she clung, eyes wide. Let him go, Austin, she sneered. He's poison. The crowd murmured, phones out. Something snapped. Months of secrets, misunderstandings, betrayals. Poison? Says the girl who outs people for sport. Gasps rippled. She flushed crimson. Austin rounded on her. Enough. Dill's not poison. He's my heart. He grabbed my hand, pulling me close, voice booming over the crackle. I love him. Deal with it, Elmwood. Stunned silence. Then applause, scattered, but real, from allies in the shadows. Brittany fled, tears trailing. The fire roared approval. But victory's Pyrrhic. Mike, watching from afar, face thunderous, stormed over. What the hell are you doing? Telling the truth. Austin shot back, chin high, my hand anchor in his. Mike's eyes flicked to me. Anger, then. Resignation? Get in the truck. We talk. All of us. No roar, just weary command. Home was reckoning. Kitchen table lit by a single bulb, Mom wringing her hands, Mike nursing coffee black as his mood. This. You too. It's wrong, he started, voice gravel. But Austin cut in, eloquent in fury. Stories of love's universality. Whitman's, I sing the body electric, quoted fierce. I added my piece, sketches spread like evidence. Us, intertwined, human. Mike listened, jaw clenched, then sighed, a dam breaking. I was wrong. Scared. But you're my boys. Hug came awkward, beer-scented, but real. Mom wept relief. Scholarship held, scouts, shamed by the viral video, reconsidered. But deeper, we emerged scarred, stronger, secrets ashes. Fall unfurled in golds and crimsons, Elmwood's trees a reluctant surrender to change, mirroring the one we'd clawed from summer's wreckage. September brought senior year, lockers slammed with renewed vigor, hallways humming with homecoming hype. But for Austin and me, it was a new normal, tentative as first frost. We'd won the battle, but wars leave ghosts. Mike's overcompensating jokes at dinner, past the peas, lovebirds. Mom's therapy pamphlets slipped into my backpack like contraband care. The town? A mixed bag, rainbow stickers on some bumpers, cold shoulders from others. But holding Austin's hand in the parking lot, his calloused palm warm against mine, made the stares fade to static. He thrived, scholarship locked, OSU banners in his room a beacon. Practices were brutal, but he'd call after, voice breathless. Missed you on the sidelines. I'd meet him at the field, sketching under the lights, capturing the poetry in his grace, the arc of a pass like a lover's reach. Our love deepened, not in grand gestures but quiet profundities. Him modeling for my portfolio, nude but chaste, light pooling on skin like grace. Me reading Ginsberg aloud in the truck, his head on my thigh, laughter rumbling low. Yet depth breeds vulnerability, and October unearthed a buried mine. During homecoming week, rifling through the attic for decorations, I found it. A shoebox under loose floorboards, labeled A's Stuff in Austin's boyish scrawl. Curiosity, fool's vice, pried the lid. Inside, letters, faded photos, a journal spine cracked from use. The first note, from a boy named Tyler, summer camp 2 years back. Can't stop thinking about that night by the lake. You're not straight, you're mine. Heart stuttered, pages flipped, confessions spilling. Austin's handwriting, anguished. Ty. It was real, but home. Dad. I can't. Betrayal bloomed cold. He'd hidden this before me. A prior chapter 1 was just the sequel to. Worse, the journal chronicled us through his lens. Early doubts. Dill's eyes undo me. Am I using him to feel again? Post-fair fears. What if I break him like Ty? Using me? The word festered, a cancer on trust. I confronted him that night, box clutched like evidence, in our room with posters curling at edges. What's this? I demanded, voice steel masking quake. He paled, sinking to the bed. Dill, I was going to tell you. Someday. Explanation tumbled. Tyler, a fleeting camp romance, ended in tears and denial when reality intruded. It scared me, made me question everything. That's why the girl's the facade. You're different. Real. Different how? I'm the safe gag, sarcasm barbed, hurt fueling fire. You journaled doubts about us, like I'm therapy, not love. His eyes glistened, reaching for me. No, you're my anchor. Those were fears, not facts. I was broken then. Plea raw, but pride armored me. Broken? Or just a liar? I backed away, box thudding to floor, papers scattering like confetti of deceit. I can't do half-truths anymore. Door slammed. I fled to the lake, moon silvering waves, sobs racking as betrayal's full weight crushed. He found me at dawn, truck headlights cutting fog, face drawn as if aged a decade. Don't throw us away over ghosts, he begged, sitting beside me on the dock, boots dangling over water. Ty was a question, you were the answer. Vulnerability pierced, his hand trembling in mine, recounting the pain of that first love's loss, the closet's chokehold. I hid it because it hurt too much. But with you, I want open books. Tears tracked his cheeks, mine joined, salt mingling. Forgive me. Echo of summer, but earned now. I nodded, pulling him close, the kiss a seal on fresh pages, tender, redemptive, waves lapping benediction. November tested resolve. OSU orientation loomed. Austin's acceptance letter framed on the mantel like a guillotine. Long distance. I fretted over cocoa in the kitchen, Mom's Afghan draped shared. He grinned, boyish. Where you come visit? Weekends in Columbus, Buckeye games, your art haunts. Optimism infectious, but undercurrent tugged, my NYU deferral, Elmwood's gravity. Climax crested Thanksgiving, irony's feast. Mike, softened by months of uneasy peace, proposed a toast to family. Messy, but ours. Glasses clinked, warmth bloomed. But post-meal, Austin pulled me aside. I serious. I turned down OSU. What? Shock numbed. The room spun. Not forever, deferral. For us. Your art showcase in the city next spring. I want to be there, not buried in books. Sacrifice stunned, love's depth abyss deep. You idiot, I whispered, hugging fierce. My hero. Winter wrapped us gentle, snow blanketing sins, holidays hushed with carols and closeness. Mike even joined PFLAG, awkward but earnest. Mom beamed, her boys whole. Graduation dawned crisp May, caps airborne like freed birds. Valedictorian Austin, out and unapologetic, spoke of hidden selves, loves that heal divides. Voice steady, my hand in his under the podium. Cheers thundered, tears flowed. Summer post-high. Road trip in the Civic, Route 66 echoes to California. Beaches, motels, us. At Big Sur, Cliff's meeting sea, he proposed. Not rings, but promise. Wherever, together. I accepted, sketching our silhouette against sunset. The most romantic frame. Wind-tousled hair, arms entwined. Oceans roar our anthem. Elmwood faded rear view, but roots lingered humanistic. Letters home, visits laced forgiveness. Mike's pride swelled at Austin's junior college coaching gig. Mom's garden bloomed defiant. Years layered, my Manhattan studio, his assistant coach whistle in Philly. Visits bridged miles, trains, planes, hearts synced. Betrayals? Scars, not shackles. Misunderstandings? Lessons in grace. In quiet moments, like that lakeside dock at golden hour, foreheads touching, world hushed. I know, love's not absence of storm, but dancing through. Changed everything? Damn right. For the better.